All right, so here it is on the layout. This thing looks absolutely fantastic. I love it. Now on pages 8 through 12 of the 2023 Volume 2 catalog, the new F19 was offered in an impressive 11 different versions with either a standard or Vanderbilt style tender, depending on which one you ordered. This one, of course, has the Vanderbilt style tender. So here we go. They had C&O number 490 in the Sportsman paint scheme like we have here. They had C&O number 494 with a gray boiler. They had C&O number 493, number 491. They had a Halloween version, number 310. That looks really cool. My friend Stosh got one of those, and I can't wait to see it. They also did a Christmas version, number 1224. They did C&O number 492, circa 1929. They did Pure Marquette number 730, RF&P number 350, and then they did 2 road numbers of the versions that pulled the famous George Washington passenger train. So for that, they did 491 and 492. On the opposite page, Lionel offered some matching heavyweight passenger cars for separate sale. All right, so let's get some stats on this puppy. Lengthwise, it's coming in right at 24.5 inches. So we have a combined weight of right at 10 pounds. Not bad. And that nice weight is due to the fact that this thing is all die-cast metal, brass, sheet metal, very little plastic involved. And of course, all that weight helps out with the pulling power. When I tested the pulling power on the F19, it came in at 3.5 pounds, which is a lot higher than I thought it would be. I mean, this is not a very big engine, and yet it's got 3.5 pounds of pulling power. But it kind of makes sense because a lot of the locomotives that Lionel has been making over the last 3, 4, 5 years, they've had a lot more pulling power. I mean, really, Lionel is making locomotives with the most pulling power they've ever had in the entire history of O-Gauge, and this is no exception, of course. 3.5 pounds, that is excellent. With that, you should be able to pull pretty much any reasonably sized train that you want. Now, if we take a look at the details on this model, I mean, look at the front of the locomotive. That just looks incredible. You've got that feed water heater up on top and all that equipment down below. You've got the classification lights. There's a coupler cut bar down there. I mean, it just looks incredible. And then as we move down, we've got legible builder's plates, more of that piping and so forth. Great looking drive wheels. On the top of the engine, we've got a whistle with a nice lanyard going back to the cab. We've also got the pop-off valves. There's a dynamo and some other add-on details. On the roof of the cab, we've got 3 opening vents, which is really cool. On the underside of the cab, you can see, again, really nice detailing. Now, this engine does have the variable ash pan glow effect, and what that means is that on the ash pan here, there's this little opening, and there's a red light on the inside, and the faster the engine goes, the more intense that red light gets. It's pretty cool. On the sides of the cab, there are opening windows, and then on the interior of the cab, we've got 2 hand-painted crew figures, a nicely detailed back head, and there's also a red glow in the firebox when the engine is in operation. Moving back to the tender, the Vanderbilt style tender is one of my favorite style of tenders overall. They just look so cool. They're long and slender, and yet they're kind of brawny in a way. I just love them. So obviously this thing is huge. It's really long, almost as long as the engine itself. We've got real coal on top. We've got an opening hatch. We've got nice handrails and grab irons. There's walkways all around the top of the tender. Obviously, we've got a great paint job with that C&O logo. Lots of nice rivet detailing. And then on the rear of the tender, we've got a backup light, a ladder, and another coupler cut bar. And then down below, we've got the electro coupler that you can throw remotely. And speaking of couplers, if you look at the front of the engine again, you'll see there's a dummy scale coupler down there at the bottom. However, if you want to, you can swap that out for a dummy O-Gauge coupler that's also packaged with the engine when you buy it, and that's there in case you want to double head the engine. Now, feature-wise, we've got all LED lighting. We've got bi-color classification lights up front. There's a twin fan-driven smoke unit for the smokestack and the whistle steam smoke effect, and the interior of the cab is lighted. And then, of course, on the inside, we've got all of the electronics for the engine. So this does have legacy control and legacy rail sounds. And then because this thing has Bluetooth on board, you can also run it using the Lion Chief app on your favorite smartphone or tablet. All right, now comes the fun part. Let's go ahead and power this thing up. So first we'll check out the whistles. As I said, number 1 and number 5 are my favorites. It's really hard for me to decide which one I like better, but let me know which one is your favorite. Next, let's check out the 5 bell tones. My favorite is number 4. Let me know which one is your favorite. And lastly, here's a sampling of some of the Crew Talk sounds, which we all know are ultra realistic.
Dispatcher, we're ready. Is it okay to pull? Over. Take the green. Out. Dispatcher, we're done for the day. Out.